And hello, everyone. There we go. Now we've got Instagram to play properly. Sometimes Instagram is a little twitchy compared to the rest. So, welcome everyone tonight. Let me get out my notes for the day. Um, so, I'm going to be talking tonight about this massive. It's like a massive pattern that I see unfolding um, because I've seen it unfold before. And it's a massive pattern that creates massive opportunities for people who are correctly positioned, for people who can see the pattern ahead of time and take at least a little bit of action, which I hope is you. So, so for tonight, if you're already watching AI sort of slowly creep into healthcare and wondering if it's just another tech trend, drop me a line because this is going to be a predicting the future kind of episode here, based on the past, right? So I'm going to show you something that'll completely change how you see your career options over the next 3 to 5 years. First, just a quick word about myself. I'm career coach Rod, and I've been helping clinical professionals transition into digital health roles for years. It's a it's like a parallel world that runs alongside clinical realities, and you kind of have to be clinical in order to know what you're doing in it. But they never train us clinical people in this stuff. So that's what I do for people like you and me. Um, so here's what matters tonight. I've seen the pattern that's playing out now with AI exactly before. And when I show you what I mean, you're going to actually realize you're sitting at the dawn of a golden opportunity right now. It's just beginning. I'm going to prove to you that AI adoption in healthcare is following the identical pattern that created mandatory EHR or EPR adoption. And that pattern creates extraordinary opportunities for clinical professionals who recognize it early and take a little bit of action. So comment if you've seen, if you can remember when electronic health records were just something that some places did and they were just trying out. And comment mandatory if you only know them as required. Be interesting to see how many people have seen what. So here's the pattern that changed everything. The EHR story that everybody forgets. I'm going to use EHR and EPR intermixed because it's the same thing, but in the States it's EHR and outside of the States it's EPR. There's a lot of people in the States though, so you kind of have to use both. I'll take you back to 2008. 2008, around the time of the big crash in the market, health records exist. Electronic health records existed, but they were completely optional. Some of the more advanced or progressive hospitals were experimenting with them, but most didn't bother. And clinical professionals looked at the clunky systems and said, this isn't going to work. They'll never replace the paper charts. It's too slow. It's too complicated. Nobody's actually going to use this stuff. Does that sound familiar? Because that's exactly what people are saying about AI in healthcare right now. Then everything changed. In 2009, the U.S. government passed the High Tech Act. It was part of the TARP Act that, recovered the economy, right? And it introduced something called meaningful use requirements. And suddenly, EHRs were not optional anymore. The government offered financial incentives for adoption, and more importantly, financial penalties for not adopting. Within just a few years, what was optional became absolutely mandatory. So here's the timeline that followed. 2009 to 2011, voluntary. Everybody get on board. It's the voluntary adoption phase. Early adopters start implementing. Most remain skeptical. 2012 to 2014, the pressure starts building. Some penalties are starting to kick in. Technology got better. The things improved. And international systems, they started their own programs. 2015 to 2017 became mandatory. Adoption became financially unavoidable, and organizations scrambled to find experts like us. 2018 to 2000 to present, it's universal. EHRs and EPRs became baseline expectations across all developed countries' healthcare. So here's the insight that matters. this didn't just happen in the US, it triggered a global domino effect. Canada, UK, EU, Australia, Asia Pacific, everyone followed with their own mandates. Once one major healthcare system makes something mandatory, economic and competitive pressures force everyone else to follow. So if you can see the pattern that I'm laying out for you, go ahead and type pattern in the DMs. Here's what AI is doing right now and following the exact same script. So we're living through the same timeline. AI in healthcare today is exactly where EHRs were in 2008, 2009. Progressive organizations are experimenting. Clinical professionals are expressing skepticism. The technology, it still has rough edges, and most people think it's just optional. It's kind of like a toy. But look what's happening right now in 2025. This month, literally October 2025, and we're only 9 days in, we're seeing the regulatory framework being built that will make AI mandatory, just like meaningful use did. First piece of evidence, regulations are being built. The UK's Medications and Health Products Regulation Agency, MHRA, just launched a national commission on AI in healthcare. This isn't theoretical anymore. They're building the oversight structure. Remember, regulation comes before mandates, not after. Evidence 2, evaluation pathways are being created. Nice. The UK's National Institute of Health and Care Excellence is expanding pathways to evaluate digital health technologies, just like they evaluate drugs and devices. From 2026, these tools will need formal approval. That's the beginning of the mandate. This is the exact same pattern. First you create standards, then you require compliance. Evidence number 3, international coordination. The European Health Data Space Regulation came into force in March this year, creating the data infrastructure for AI to operate across borders. Canada's Health Canada is creating AI medical device regulations. Australia's Therapeutic Goods Administration is developing AI pathways. The global domino effect is already starting, just like it did with EHRs. Finally, evidence number 4, economic momentum. Digital health funding hit $3.5 billion in this quarter of 2025 alone. That's just 3 months. When mainstream leaders like Linda Yaccarino leave companies like Twitter or X to become CEO of an AI-driven healthcare company, that signals the money is betting on mandatory adoption. Eli Lilly is partnering with telehealth platforms for AI-integrated care. That's infrastructure being built for scale, not experimentation. Here's my timeline prediction. Based on the EHR pattern, here's what's coming. 2023, 2024 that just passed, that's voluntary adoption, early experiment, that sort of thing. 2025, 2026, pressure is building, regulations are emerging, and penalties are being designed. 2027, 2029, just around the corner, financial penalties for non-adoption, scramble for expertise, people like me and you, and premium compensation for people who can meet those needs. 2030 and beyond, it becomes a universal standard. It's a baseline expectation everywhere. But here's the kicker. AI adoption will happen faster than EHRs because healthcare systems learned from that experience. They know how to structure mandates now. So can you see it? Type inevitable if you're realizing this isn't a question of if, but when. Why this pattern creates extraordinary opportunities for people like us. So the lesson that I learned in meaningful use, during the EHR transition, say back 2012, 2017, I watched clinical professionals make 3 different choices, and those choices determined the rest of their career's trajectory. Choice number 1 were resistors. These were professionals who would refuse to engage with the technology. They said, I went to medical school or nursing school to care for patients, not to type into computers. By 2018, they found themselves increasingly unemployable or stuck in roles with no advancement. Don't be this person. Choice number 2, the adapters. These professionals waited until EHRs became mandatory and then learned to use them. They survived, but they had no influence over implementation decisions. They received no special compensation for their skills because everybody had to learn. They adapted, but they did not thrive. And choice number 3, the early adopters. This is where the money is. The clinical professionals who developed EHR expertise during the voluntary phase, They 2009, 2012, when the mandatory transition hit, and organizations scrambled for expertise, these were the people commanding premium rates. Same thing's happening now. Here's some real numbers. Clinical professionals who understood both healthcare workflows and digital implementation could charge 150 to 300 bucks an hour for consulting work. Organizations were desperate for people who could bridge clinical knowledge and technology, and some turned these consulting gigs into full-time roles with six-figure salaries plus equity. Others built independent consulting practices that gave them complete control over their schedules, over their lives. And the AI opportunity will be even bigger, and here's why. AI is more complex than EHRs. It requires deeper expertise to implement safely. And AI carries higher safety risks, which means your clinical knowledge becomes even more valuable as a safety net. Organizations learned from EHR implementation disasters, and they'll pay more to get AI done right the first time. So this isn't just about money. Let me paint you two pictures. Before a traditional clinical role, physical exhaustion from a 12-hour shift, missing family events, night shifts destroying your health, treating individual patients one at a time instead of, in huge groups and huge numbers, and limited control over your working conditions. After a digital health role with AI experience, you get a predictable schedule, often remote or flexible, present for your kids' events, for your family, impact scaling from individual patients to thousands through better systems, and premium compensation for specialized knowledge that you have because you prepared early. So if you're burned out, if you're exhausted by physical demands, if you're missing life while you work, this transition is your exit ramp, but only if you position yourself before the mandate hits. So if you're feeling burnout, type burnout in the chat, or perhaps type ready if you're realizing you need to make this transition now for yourself, not later. The window will be closing. We're late in 2025, and here's what that means. The timeline, we're in the pressure building phase right now. Regulations are being written, standards are being created, penalties are being designed. The mandate is coming 2027 to 2029. That's 2 to 4 years away, which means you have right now to develop expertise before everyone starts scrambling. In 2009, so here's the math. In 2009, clinical professionals had about 3 or 4 years to develop EHR expertise before the mandatory transition created urgent demand. I prepared even before that. Those who use that time wisely position themselves for 5 to 10 years of premium opportunities, really high earners. And with AI, you have roughly the same window, but it's closing fast. What positioning yourself actually means right now is you don't need to become a programmer or a data scientist. You need to understand how AI works in healthcare without necessarily building the algorithms yourself. You need to speak both languages, clinical care and AI capabilities, and you need a track record of AI projects before organizations are desperate to hire people with a track record of AI projects. So there's three phases to positioning. First phase, right now, AI literacy. Now through next year. Learn the basics, machine learning, natural language processing, predictive analytics. Understand how AI is being applied in your clinical specialty. Volunteer for AI projects at your current organization and start networking with people who are already in healthcare AI. Phase 2, implementation experience. So seek opportunities that combine clinical expertise with AI. Lead AI adoption initiatives where you work and build a track record of successful AI projects. Develop AI expertise for safety, governance, and quality assurance. Non-clinical people can't reach into any of those spaces. Sorry. Market leadership is phase 3. Now you're ready, the mandates have hit, and you can command premium rates as organizations scramble to get at you. You get to influence how AI adoption happens in your clinical specialty, and you can build consulting practices or take leadership roles. You can benefit from the urgent demand that's coming from a mandatory transition. Every month that passes, you're 1 month closer to the mandatory phase. Right now, you can learn at your own pace and position strategically. In 2028, you'll be scrambling to catch up while competing with everyone else who waited too long. So here's some of the stuff that's happening globally. We learned in EHR adoption that what starts in one country creates an unstoppable sort of global pressure. And we're watching it happen right now. In the UK, England is planning to launch a national online hospital by 2027. It's not virtual consultations. This is complete digital first hospital model rebuilt with AI capabilities. Every clinical role, every workflow will be different. Here's some economic proof for you. Healthcare systems worldwide face impossible math. They have aging populations, rising costs, shrinking budgets. AI is the only realistic path to improving outcomes while controlling expenses. That economic reality makes adoption inevitable, not optional. So here's the question for you. Will your current skill be relevant in that environment, or do you need to start building new capabilities right now? Type building if you know you need to start building. Your immediate next steps. What to do this week. This is Thursday. Maybe that's a little tight. First, start learning about AI in your specific clinical area. What's being tested? What's showing promise? Identify one AI pilot project or initiative at your organization and volunteer to be involved. Connect with 3 people on LinkedIn who are already involved in healthcare AI and read about AI regulation frameworks being developed in your country. When Meaningful Use came out, I read all 900 pages because it was money. Every page of it, every word, just money. Here's what you shouldn't do. Don't wait for your organization to mandate training. Don't assume this will somehow remain optional. And don't convince yourself you're too old or not technical enough. The nurses who became top EHR consultants in the past weren't technical either. So if you want some of the resources I'm offering, I've got a structured roadmap for making this transition. If you want to stop watching from the sidelines and start positioning yourself, DM me the word roadmap, and I'll get that over to you. I'll send you my free digital healthcare career transition guide that breaks down exactly what skills you need to develop and in what order. And this is exactly what I coach clinical professionals through, so you don't have to figure it out alone the way I did. Which takes a lot longer. So here's some doubts that I had when I was making a transition into digital health, and you may know somebody personally who has similar doubts. So what if this AI stuff doesn't actually become mandatory? Well, ask yourself, did anyone who developed EHR expertise regret it? No. Even if the exact timeline shifts from what I've said, the direction is certain. Healthcare cannot sustainably improve outcomes while controlling costs without AI. The economics make it inevitable. Or maybe you're thinking, I don't have technical skills. Well, neither do the nurses who became 6-figure EHR implementation consultants. They were just nurses. You need clinical judgment and the ability to learn. Technical skills can be taught. Your clinical expertise is the hard part, and it can't be taught quickly. Will I take a pay cut during this transition? Well, during transition phases, usually the opposite happens. Your expertise becomes more valuable and not less, especially if you position yourself before the scramble starts. How do I start when I'm already burned out? I'm at my wit's end. Start small. 30 minutes a week learning about AI in your specialty. The path out of burnout runs through positioning yourself for different opportunities. Staying in your current role without adapting is the riskiest choice you can make. So here's the bottom line. You're living through the early stages of transformation that will reshape healthcare fundamentally as electronic records did. The pattern is predictable because we've seen it before. The timeline is clear. 2027 to 2029 is when the urgent demand hits. The opportunity is extraordinary for clinical professionals who position themselves now. The choice you're making right now, you can resist and hope AI remains optional or goes away. It won't. You can wait and adapt when it becomes mandatory. You'll survive, but you won't thrive. Or you can position yourself strategically and benefit from the premium opportunities during the transition. This is where the money and the freedom are. So you became a healthcare professional to make an impact. AI gives you the chance to scale that impact from individual patients to entire systems, but only if you're part of building it, not just reacting to it. DM me roadmap for that free transition guide and follow me because I'm breaking down how all of these skills, all of the skills that clinical professionals need to develop without becoming programmers. So let me know. Are you going to resist? Are you going to adapt? Are you going to position yourself strategically? If you resist, then hope you're close to retirement. I saw a lot of people exit to retirement with my implementations. If you're going to adapt, then this probably isn't for you. If you're going to position yourself strategically so that you can get the best opportunities, then I'm the person for you. This is the kind of service that you need. And some final thoughts here. The professionals who recognize the EHR pattern early built careers and financial success that lasted decades. Literally, mine went on for 2 decades, right? The same opportunity exists with AI, but the window is closing. Don't let this pass you by. Just today, I was contacted by an AI digital health company that has wonderful programmers. They have lots of people who know how to do the math, and they didn't have any clinical aspect of what was actually being required. They contacted me. We're going to start working together. I'll be shaping the future of AI from a executive kind of perspective, and I need lots of soldiers in the army to go out there and actually do the work. That's what I'm doing this for. That's who I'm hoping to help. So thanks for joining me tonight. The pattern that we can see for AI is predictable. It's extremely predictable. It is repeating. The timeline is clear. The opportunity is extraordinary, and the time to act to make best use of that opportunity is now. So I'll see you in the DMs, and we can build your roadmap together. I see a few people did join here. I've got MMLL 2018, Javid D, and Love Vitality Yoga. So let me know if you have questions about this AI revolution. Let me know if you're ready for it, because it's coming. Let me know if you plan to get ready for it. Please just let me know. And if you don't want to type something in the DM for everyone to see, then DM me privately. It's fine. I'll answer even what you might think are stupid questions, and I'll guarantee you almost everybody else has the same questions. This stuff is not as hard as the clinical training that we've all gotten. The clinical training really was the hard part. I like to compare it to blood gas analysis because for me, I always sort of stumble through blood gas analysis. I do it at least twice. Wait, are they compensating? I can't, wait, let me start it again. It's not that hard. It's not that complicated. It's just in a computer. And so that's off-putting for some people. But if it had to require a programmer, the work would never get done because there are no programmers who have good clinical judgment. They just don't exist. Great seeing everyone tonight. It is dinner time here in North England, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks, everyone. Good night.